research has shown that most people who like jazz are the type who are easy to change in organization. But people who like the military marching band and don't like jazz, most of the time they are the type who resist change in organization.
Dogmatic.
Yes, they resist change. So during HR meetings and everything, they ask you that question. Or you probably will be, no, I don't like jazz, I like this. You are telling them something about yourself. But you don't know. There are many questions like that. Alright, they can easily ask a question. The way you answer it will be able to profile you. Employee profiling. If you do it in HR, if you study HR, I believe some of these things, you may have come across them. Right? The questions that they ask you, simple questions. Even sometimes the way you laugh or the way you smile alone can tell them something about your profile, right? How you behave, what interests you. Or they're there in a meeting or in an interview and they crack some joke, and then you don't smile or you don't even laugh well. Oh yes. So during job interview, the smartest way to do is that don't laugh before them or after them, laugh with them. And don't smile before or after them, smile with them. So if you are very smart, you watch and gaze the way they are. Something that they said which is not funny, suddenly you start to laugh, they look at each other. Because you think you find it funny. Easily they can say, oh, what is funny? Or sometimes they create cracks and joke, whatever, and they want to smile or they laugh, and then you are very rigid sitting there like that. It means you're not confident. Or it means you're hiding something you don't want them to do. So you are tense. So when they laugh, you laugh with them. When they smile with them. Don't smile after or before. So here we can ask a question. We can ask a general question, but this is a disguise question. So same thing. Your question is good, but if only the disguised question you are asking is related, then it's still valid. I hope you understand. Like the jazz question. If it's related, then another example, there was a research, there is a bias. I will come to the bias. We want to always prevent social desirability bias. SDB, socially desirability bias. This is one of the questions. Socially desirability bias. Now, what is socially desirable? You see the way people are writing. One of the questions, no, people start writing. Social desirability bias is when we ask certain questions in a questionnaire, and even though you don't do it, you want to look good, and then you say it. For question number 1, I do not tell lies in the office. Strongly agree, strongly disagree. Where do you think you will fall? Neutral. You'll be very lucky if you have neutral. Everybody will strongly agree. 90% we strongly agree, because our nature as human beings, we always want to align to something that is socially desirable. You see? So when you ask those kind of questions, I fast, I pray every morning, I'm trustworthy, I'm honest, you will have 100%. Everybody will be there. Everybody will give you the actual instead of the ideal. Do you understand? Meanwhile, in research, what we want is that we want the actual, not the ideal situation. In that case, you can ask a disguised question to make sure you get the actual response that you want. So, one of the things we use, but it's a bit weak actually, but sometimes we do it. In the questionnaire, to write, my best friend does not like to pray. Now, if you respond, you know what you are saying.
Show me your friend.
Show me your friend, I'll show you your character. But even though it's a bit weak, some researchers have gone against this one, but still, some researchers are using it. Another way is that what is the easiest way? Alright? You rate your boss will rate you. Like we do in employee evaluation, employee evaluation generally. You will rate your supervisor, and your supervisor will rate you. So what we do is that first I give you a questionnaire to rate yourself. I pray every morning, you rate yourself. And then we give it to your best friend or your supervisor, who at least will see your work within the environment. Alright, and then he will also rate you. But even this one, there is some research you cannot apply, especially about religiosity. How do I know when you go home you pray or you don't pray? Do you get it? Good. But I'm mentioning all these things because of the question research you ask. Sometimes you can ask a disguised question, even though it's disguised, but it's face valid. Okay? Now let's look at any other question on this? Yes.
For example, we were collecting some data, and then a question was posed as, I am well trained to perform my job. And everybody, psychologically, everybody was responding
Yes.
to the
Favorably.
Favorably, exactly.
Good.
Even though, if you go deep into it, not everyone is trained
To do whatever they are doing. You see, that question can lead to social desirability bias. So, such a question, if you come for defense, an examiner will open your questionnaire and you see that question. He will ask you, Mr. So and so, this question here is prone to social desirability bias. How did you manage to solve it? Now, what betides you that you don't even know what social desirability bias is? Alright? And if you don't know what it is in the first place, then that's the very first trouble for you. Let alone you don't even know also how to answer it. Right? So social desirability bias, like I explained, when you see that people are answering favorably to a particular question, even though ideally, even though ideally is like that, but actually they don't do it. There is difference between the ideal and the actual. So if you're not careful in that case, you're going to have answers that are not right. And you see, if you have these kind of answers, later in analysis, it will lead you to something we call outliers. I'm coming to discuss outliers very soon. Outliers during normality tests. I'm not even come there yet, and I see people are tired. Now I start to have stress myself. When I get there, how I can explain it? Right? But please, let's stay up. I try not to sleep. Now, reliability. Let's look at reliability. Reliability. Now, what is reliability in research? Let me cite some examples that will make us understand it very easy and very simple. If I have a scale in the gym or a scale at the airport that I measure weights, and I jump on the scale and it says my weight is 65, and I get down, I climb on it again, 65, and I get down. The third time, what do we expect to see? 65. If it gives us 65 consistently within a particular period, it means that scale is reliable. Do we agree? Yeah. Good. Now in research, we have a similar scale, the questionnaire. The questionnaires that we use to collect data. The questionnaire in research is also called a scale. And it functions the same way like that scale we stand on to check your weight. But how do we check that that scale in questionnaire is reliable? How do we check? It's not a natural scale that you can jump on and down, right? But how we check is that we use our questionnaire, collect like 20 respondents, input in SPSS, and there is something we call Cronbach alpha. Cronbach alpha is spelled as Cronbach, C-R-O-B-A-N-C-H. Right? I cannot write it here. It's spelled as Cronbach. Cronbach, we normally say Cronbach alpha. C-R-O-B-A-N-C-H. Cronbach and then alpha. So Cronbach alpha, the moment you hear Cronbach alpha, just remember you are testing what? Reliability of your questionnaire. You want to look at whether the questionnaire is reliable to give you consistent good results. If a scale is able to give consistent good results, what it means is that the scale is reliable. And Cronbach alpha, a very good scale, will have a Cronbach alpha of 0.7 and above. 0.7 is 70%. 70%. So 70% is 0.7. Okay? So when we say 70%, it means that the questionnaire you have, the scale, the questionnaire that we have, when you use it to collect data now, and I come back tomorrow and use the same questionnaire to collect data, the difference between the outcomes of the one yesterday and the one today will be consistent up to at least 70% and above. So it means Cronbach alpha of 0.7. You normally see this in research. Any journal you download, the questionnaire they use, the questionnaire has to have a Cronbach alpha of 0.7 and above, or 0.8. When you have a Cronbach alpha of 0.5 or 0.4, what does that mean?
No good.
It means it's not reliable. If your questionnaire is not reliable, what it means is that you go back and redo it again. Go back and fix the questionnaire.
Major correction.
I hope it's clear. Any question on this too? Before I move on. Any questions on this too? So therefore, when we ask in an exam, discuss validity and reliability of a scale in a research. First, you talk about validity, define it, and give its types. And then you come back and discuss reliability and tell us that Cronbach alpha is what we use to measure reliability, and a Cronbach alpha of 0.7 and above will mean that our scale is reliable. Now, Cronbach alpha is not the only one we use to measure reliability, but that is the best. That is the best. In your slides, you will find others like split half method. Split half is a method called split half method. There is another one we call Gutmann. Gutmann is G-U-T-T, G-U-T-T and man. Gutmann is another method for measuring reliability. But like I said, the best one is which one? Cronbach alpha. In some places they call it coefficient alpha. It's the same thing. Coefficient alpha or Cronbach alpha is the same thing. In Cronbach alpha, the threshold is 0.7 and above. Good. Now let me look at the scale. Please take note of this. I'm going to use it actually in coming up with the scale. Right? We have religiosity, workplace jealousy, and OCD. I need a bigger board, so let me clean this one. But take note, I'm going to use this one. So let's say there are some ways we can get questionnaires for our research. The framework I have just now, we have independent variable and another independent as well as moderator and the dependent. Now these three variables, I will need to get questionnaires on them to be able to measure and collect data for my research. So the very first one I'll use is, let me have a table here. In this table I'll have here is variable, and under the variable I will start with the dependent variable, which is OCD. And within this variable I will have a reference here. Now the journals we download to review OCD. If you remember, I said we should put them 1, 2, 3 until 20, right? Now the same journals, you go back to them and look in the journal. Mostly they will give the questionnaires they use for OCB. So let's say if you go to, for instance, one of my own journals, Camel 2012, I have provided questionnaires for OCB. Now, if you take the questionnaires and you don't change it at all, you take it as is, it's called adopted. So the questions you adopt there, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, for instance, you have 5. And then we are done. Now, if you have modified them, I think we did this last week. It's a revision. If you have modified them, then that becomes adapted. So how you modify them, you write them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then this place is going to be the second variable called university. And this one is also called, the third one, we call it as
workplace.
Workplace jealousy. W, P, and J. The questionnaire we have here is what we use to put on the, how we capture it as one scale of 1 to 5. And when you finish this questionnaire, the very first thing we do is we call it pilot study or pilot test. Now what is pilot test? Pilot test means trial. In trial test, I only give the questionnaire to only 20 people. Only 20. And the 20 people, you can just even give to students. Right? Or people who understand your questionnaire. Let them fill it up. When they finish filling it up, you put it in SPSS and just look for reliability in SPSS and click on it. When you look for reliability, click on it, it will ask you to put the variables in there. So these variables, you put them inside there, and that's all. Just press OK. It will tell you the Chromebook Alpha. You don't need to do anything. I hope you understand. Yeah, we don't have enough time to do it. I will have shown you. It's very simple. Put the data inside there, click Analyze, and you come to Chromebook Alpha or reliability. Okay, that's all. It will tell you Chromebook Alpha 0.8. Chromebook Alpha 0.8. Is it good or not good?
Very good.
That's good. Now, when that happens and it's good, only then you go and now you print out 200 or 300. And now you do your own study. It's just like when you go to the shop to buy a new equipment. Don't you try it? You try it. When you try, only then you come or you buy and use it. The same thing with your questionnaire. When you manage to get it here, because you are picking them from different research depending on your framework. So you pick differently, you put them together. After you are able to put them together, you try it first. If after trying is good, only then you go and use it for the main study. Are we clear with this? Yeah. Good. Now we'll move on to the next one. If we are done with pilot study and we are coming to analyze, this is the part I will wish everybody should wake up, please. Please wake up all those next to you. Wake them up. Please wake them up. They are awake. Okay, examinable. This one is examinable. So get that. For every research, listen carefully. For every research, before we can analyze, we have 4 main multivariate assumptions that we have to consider. 4 main, and I'm serious, this part also came in the exam before. A lot of students couldn't do it. I'm just discussing the examinable. You said you wanted the areas. When I'm done, you realize that all the areas we have discussed them. Alright?